What is up, everybody? Welcome to another Borderlands 4 video, and today we actually got a different character's overview. Everyone clap. Come on, let's hear it. So I know it's not a ton, we just got a little peek at Rafa and some of his action skills, but hidden within that was a lot of his augments and capstones thrown onto his action skills, and you may not have caught that, so I'm here to showcase all that here today. So this is probably going to be a pretty quick video, but let's get into it. So if you want to check out this video for yourself, I'll have it linked in the description down below. But first is at 19 seconds to 24-ish seconds, we see arc knives with an augment. And that first augment that we get to see is acid drop. And acid drop here says arc knives dash attack is replaced by caustic leap. Pressing LT causes Rafa to leap forward and create a caustic hazard wherever he lands. Whenever a mark is removed from an enemy, it explodes in a corrosive nova. And if you're confused by that last part, then let me read you the base action skill arc knives for Rafa. Rafa puts down his guns and equips arc knives, blades that deal melee damage and mark enemies when they damage them, causing them to take increased damage for every mark on them. Right trigger, perform melee attacks with Rafa's arc knives. Left trigger, dash forward and perform a shock melee attack. Left bumper, unleash Rafa's Blade Fury, which deals shock damage to all marked enemies and ends the skill. So basically, acid drop is replacing the element from shock with corrosion and that caustic damage, but then also adds on the fact that it sounds like when he leaves behind some kind of caustic cloud in the air. Moving forward, we see Rafa's second augment called Insta-Fort Battle System, and this makes Rafa's Peacebreaker cannons also deal ordnance damage, and he deals increased ordnance damage while Peacebreaker cannons are active. Pressing LB while Peacebreaker cannons are active causes them to disconnect from Rafa and become a turret companion that begins firing at enemies in place. Additionally, it will occasionally fire grenades at its target. If Rafa has a grenade equipped, it copies that grenade. Pressing LB again returns the turret companion to Rafa's back. This augment also increases ordnance damage. So once again, if you don't know what the Peacebreaker cannons are, well, I'll read you that action skill now. Equip Rafa's Peacebreaker cannons, which automatically fire at enemies in Rafa's crosshairs, dealing kinetic gun damage. If that enemy dies, you press up on the D-pad, the Peacebreaker cannons find a new target. Holding LB ends Peacebreaker cannons and refunds a portion of the remaining action skill duration as action skill cooldown. So normally his cannons are on his back and you can decide where to target them and they will fire on your back with you and follow you around. But if you decide to, then you can take this augment and you can throw them as turrets, kind of like Axton or Roland had, and it specifies specifically that it becomes a companion. So I do wonder if there is some kind of companion build within that. Anywho, one of my personal favorites that came out of this video was Beam Team, and this is a capstone for Rafa, which makes Rafa's Peacebreaker cannons replaced with a shock beam and corrosive beam. Each beam automatically locks onto enemies in your view and may lock onto different enemies. Whenever Rafa applies a status effect, gain increased action skill damage. And next up we have another capstone, but this time for Rafa's Apophis Lance. Am I saying that right? I have literally no idea if that's how you say it. That's what I'm going to be saying for this video. Sorry if that bugs you, but the capstone is called Project Basilisk. Apophis Lance now fires a corrosive blob that leaves a corrosive hazard and splits into several smaller projectiles whenever it detonates. The more charges Apophis Lance consumes at once, the more it splits. Now, if you don't know what Rafa's base Apophis Lance action skill does, well, let me read that to you now. Equip Rafa's Apophis Lance and offhand arm cannon that decreases Rafa's gun handling, but allows him to fire piercing shock ordnance blasts. Any unused charges when Apophis Lance ends are converted into action skill cooldown. Press LT to fire a piercing shock ordnance blast at enemies and consume a charge, or hold LT to charge Rafa's Apophis Lance for increased damage projectile size, and projectile speed at the cost of more charges. So that's his base Apophis Lance, but what I like about the Project Basilisk capstone is not only does it augment it to be corrosive, it augments its behavior to be more of kind of like almost like a ricochet behavior, where the more you charge it, the more it'll split off into more enemies, which is really cool. Now moving on, we have another personal favorite of mine that I've seen in this video, an augment for Rafa's Peacebreaker cannons called Unmissable Missiles. It says pressing LB while Peacebreaker cannons is active causes them to fire a volley of homing rockets at enemies in view, at the cost of action skill duration. So this Unmissable Missiles looks actually pretty wild. I mean, it's almost like the Hellfire, Hellstorm grenade, whatever it is from Borderlands 3, where the fireballs just rain down. And it reminds me a lot of that, but it's an action skill, which is absolutely crazy. So this looks really freaking sick. I mean, when I slow it down here, you can clearly see the fireball explosions kind of like coming out almost like a mortar, where it goes up high and just kind of arcs down and falls onto you. Maybe more like artillery, but yeah, this is a really cool action skill augment. I love this. But if we go back to this clip here, starting at 37 seconds about that, and I can't really tell if there's an augment going on here. I don't think it is. I think it's Rafa's base action skill of the Apophis Lance, but it's hard to tell. I mean, the shots are piercing through a lot of enemies, it appears, which the only augment I saw for Apophis Lance that talks about piercing shock blasts is Hell in a Shell, but this makes his action skill do fire damage, which I don't see any fire damage. So maybe this is just the regular action skill, since in the description of the base action skill, it does say piercing shock ordnance blasts. And one last thing here at the end that y'all may have caught, maybe you saw it and just didn't pick up on it, but yeah, we see that Callus is indeed someone we fight. 100% confirmed. Now, do we end up killing her in this fight? Who knows? All we know for now is that Callus fight is confirmed. So with that, guys, that is everything I had to share today. Not much. I mean, it's a small, like 1+ minute video, but we got to learn, or not learn, but see some new things about Rafa. We've already kind of seen like his entire skill tree, but at least now we got to see some of his augments and capstones in action, which was pretty cool. Which one you saw was your favorite out of this video? Or is there one in the skill tree that we haven't seen in gameplay at all yet, and that's what you're most interested in? Let me know down below. And if you liked the video, well then make sure to like the video. If you want to stick around and get more Borderlands news and maybe just listen to me blab on more in your ear, then get subbed. If you like to catch me stream, I do stream right here on YouTube. You can tap the bell and get notified when I do, because I don't have a consistent schedule yet. And if you'd like to support the channel, well then I opened up memberships, and you can get these little adorable emojis here to use in my streams if you want to catch me live again. And it's only $2 a month. But again, nothing you have to do. Just showing up here is plenty enough for me, and I appreciate the hell out of all of you. If you've stayed to this point, you're a freaking legend, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out.